who's gonna flop the hardest. Hey y'all, it's your girl Nida and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I told you guys that I was going to do a video comparing the two translucent primers on the market, which are the XX Revolution Eye Fix Primer and the KVD Beauty Shake Primer. So yeah, I did two separate bop or flop reviews on both of these items. I will leave iCards above for both, and I was not impressed with either one. So I did say, I believe in both videos, I think I said I wanted to do a video comparing the two like at the same time and seeing who could flop harder. Today is that day. I'm preparing for a lot of frustration. Just doing that right now. I'm preparing for a lot of frustration. So just a little rundown. The XX Revolution Eye Fix Primer has been out for, I think, since like June. The KVD the KVD Shake Primer has been out since July. I believe the Eye Fix Primer, this is $10, and the KVD one is $22. So off the bat, I was kind of like, if this turns out to be great, then that'd be amazing, because this is $10 versus $22 for this little tiny bottle here. So just a few things about the specs about these both products. The Eye Fix one comes in a tube with a wand applicator, and the KVD Shake Primer is you shake it to incorporate the formula. You press a little bottom at the button, a little button at the bottom, and that dispenses the amount that you need. So yeah, both eye looks, like oh my gosh. So for the KVD primer, I was so like confused in my video that I made about it that I forgot to mention to you guys that like I had a lot of trouble blending my eyeshadow on my right eye, and my right eye is always the good eye. That's the eye that's like, I'm always here for you, I'm always snatched, I'm always doing what you need me to do. And then the left eye is like, girl, we don't care about what you want or what you need, I'm just gonna do what I want to do. So I did have a lot of trouble blending out my shadow on the right eye with the Shake Primer, and I was like, I normally never have that problem ever, even with the palette I was using, and I didn't have that problem when I blended out my eyeshadow on my left eye, and my left eye looked a lot better than my right eye, which was crazy because normally my left eye never looks better than my right eye. I had a similar problem with the Eye Fix Primer, and the Eye Fix Primer just all around was just no, and no. It was just, from the beginning, it was just a no. So yeah, today we're gonna compare both primers. For the palette I'm using today, I'm gonna be using my ABH Norvina palette. This is actually a really good palette. The shadows are great quality. I like it a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna be playing with this palette. I have to see, I think I figured out what color scheme I'm gonna go for, but yeah. So I'm going to do right eye Shake Primer and left eye the Eye Fix Primer. I'm gonna film me putting on my eyeshadow on both eyes, and then I'm gonna do my full face, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna see who flopped harder than the other. I do not suggest anybody go out and spend money on these. I'm not gonna lie to you. Just off rip, I don't suggest anybody go out and spend money on these, but I did want to see the comparison for myself to see which one was better than the other, because it was about a 2-week gap in between when I filmed the KVD one and the Eye Fix one. So, and I haven't used either one since. So yeah, I just wanted to know personally for myself, and if for anybody else out there who wanted to know which one was better than the other, because I'm sure there's somebody out there that's like, from what I've seen on Instagram, there are people out there really making this KVD Shake Primer look like it's amazing, and I'm like, what sorcery is this? And I've heard nobody talk about this, so I'm kind of like, okay, weird. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna zoom you guys in, and we're gonna get to putting the eyeshadow on. I'm gonna do the same look for both eyes also. are done. Yeah. So I still had the same problem with both primers where I did get some resistance when it came to blending. For whatever reason, the Shake Primer and the Shake Primer and for some reason the Shake Primer and the Makeup Revolution Primer both do this thing where you just see this dark line here. Whatever shadow you lay down, it just darkens it on the edges no matter what. And then you can't blend it out. Like, I sat there to blend this out with my other transition shade and it just didn't care. So I ended up going over it with that shimmery purple shade up to like about here, but you can still see it under that purple. Same thing with over here, and even worse over here is this primer, the iFix primer, is like really sticky for some reason. Whereas this one dries down more to like kind of like, it feels kind of like a soft, like kind of demi matte kind of feeling. It goes from like kind of an oil, like a liquidy oil feeling to like a demi matte feeling. Where this one dries down and doesn't feel sticky. Like when I put the shadow on top of it, it doesn't feel like it's just sticking. Like I don't feel the brush sticking to the shadow. I mean, sticking to my eyelid. This one, literally the brush sticks to the eyelid. And then it causes this dark line, this line of demarcation right here. That no matter how much blending I do, it doesn't blend out. Like oh my gosh, it gets really patchy when you try to layer shadows, like how I was able to at least layer this purple shade, this shimmery purple shade, over the dark shade here a little bit. This one doesn't allow me to do that at all. Like you could still clearly see all of this dark under the shimmer shade. The shimmer shade would not stick to the lid. I don't know how these people like on Instagram be making like this like Shake Primer look like it's amazing. I have no idea, because maybe this is not like intermediate friendly. Maybe this is like expert level friendly. I don't know. Maybe this is something you use when you're only putting one shade on your lid and you're not layering any more shades. I have no idea, but like as a primer, if you're gonna do like a full look, like a cut crease or something, I don't know. I don't think this is it. I didn't even do a cut crease. I just did a couple shadows and then a lid shade. So yeah, and this also really sticks like in my crease. Like before I know it, this is going, all of the shadow like right in here is gonna be gone. Same thing over here. All right. And I'm back, and I'm sans any makeup. So upon editing this video, I found out that my outro clip, the sound was AS. I don't know what happened. So I'm like, let me sit down and refilm that. So here are my final thoughts. In terms of who flopped the hardest, the XX Revolution primer flopped the hardest. My left eye did not look good. Trying to apply the shadows was harder, but I do have some newer opinions on the KVD primer. So using it again, and the eye look came out much better than the first eye look I did. It came out much, much better. So I think that maybe, and I think I did do one thing different, especially with the eyeshadow. I took a flat brush to apply that like mauve color in my crease, where before what I did is I think I used like a tiny, like a small blending brush, like a Morphe M506, like a small detail brush. I think that's what I did the first time when I did the blue eyeshadow look. And that might have made a difference because both of those brushes are designed differently. So a flat eyeshadow brush is better for packing, whereas you can pack with like a small blending brush, like a Morphe M506, because the hairs on the brush are packed a little tighter than say like a fluffier blending brush, but it's still got that like separation in the hairs. It's not tightly, densely packed. So I think working with a packing type of brush was better. But I was using a brush the first time around that I normally would use when I do my eyeshadow. So yeah. The second time around, I thought the look I was doing specifically called for me to use that brush. So I was like, I'll use it. But it actually did a better job. I did still have some issues blending out my shadows, but not nearly as much as the first go round. So I feel like maybe the KVD Shake Primer, especially seeing other people use it, I think this is definitely something for maybe expert level. I think this may be something that will work really, really well for if you're doing one pigment look, one shadow looks. You know, you're only putting a wash of color on the lid and you're not adding a ton of things to it. You're not doing a cut crease. You're not blending and building. I think that's where that would be, and that's its wheelhouse. The XX Revolution Primer is just too sticky. It's way, way, way too sticky. It sticks to your lid. It sticks to your brush. All of the eyeshadow sticks to it, and not in a good way. And what ends up happening is once you add some shadow and you go to blend it out and you go to build and to create your look, you can't build on top of it. What ends up happening is that pigment just blends out to nothing because it doesn't have anything to stick to. So it's frustrating because this is only 10 bucks, and I really wanted for this to work, because a translucent eye primer is a fantastic idea. Like, in theory, it is a really great idea, because for especially a makeup artist, you're traveling, you're working on different skin colors, and you're working on different skins. You're traveling, you're working on different skin tones, you're working on different skin types. Something like this would be really, really helpful, because you wouldn't need to keep finding a base specifically to fit someone's skin tone, or using a really white base on someone that's either really, really pale or like really, really dark. So it would just eliminate that issue. It's translucent. It'll fit everybody. It'll work for everybody. So in theory, it's a really, really great idea, but I feel like in practice for both products, they just missed the mark. In KVDs, they missed the mark a little bit. In X Revolution, they missed the mark a lot. A lot. And maybe that's why nobody was really talking about it. I don't know. Like, I know XX Revolution is a newer Makeup Revolution brand, and Makeup Revolution has a lot of brands, and Makeup Revolution doesn't necessarily have like the best of reputations in terms of like products wise for a lot of people. A lot of people really hate that Makeup Revolution tends to come out with a lot of dupes or exact replicas of a lot of products, which I get, but at the same time, it also is providing a market of products for people who can't afford the higher end makeup or the original of the product. So there's that. I feel like creating a dupe, there's nothing wrong with that, but you shouldn't blatantly rip people off. That's the other thing, is creating a dupe is great, because a dupe is going to help a lot of people, especially people who are looking for something that's a little lower end. But an exact copy on a replica for cheap, bring it back. So a lot of people tend to kind of get turned off by Makeup Revolution. Also, a lot of people are turned off by Makeup Revolution because there are certain things, like certain products, that have formula issues that people don't like or doesn't work well, and instead of fixing the issues, they come out with new products. So it's kind of like, I know you're trying to keep the steam, keep pushing ahead as a company and with your products by continuously releasing or continually creating new things, but you might want to fix some staples, because what it makes it look like is, for other people, well, if you didn't fix this, then how do I know this new product is going to be good? That can kind of be difficult. But yeah, but definitely the XX Revolution Primer flopped harder than the KVD one. Using the KVD one the second time around, I was able to blend a little bit better. The pigment didn't stick in patches as much as it did the first time using it, and it felt a little smoother. The eye look overall came out better. My right eye looked much better. Was it my right eye or my left eye? I can't remember. The eye I did look much better. I believe it was my right eye. But yeah, that eye looked much better. For the XX Revolution Primer, it did the same thing it did before. It was way too sticky. The pigment was not sticking. I had this issue where it was really, really, really hard to blend out, because it would just grab onto the eyeshadow and dry it out, basically, and then you just couldn't move it. You couldn't blend it. And that's just not good, because all you get is just a patchy mess when you do that, when that happens. It's just patchy, patchy, patchy. So yeah, definitely, if you are someone who, I don't know, maybe you're more expert level at eyeshadow, or you are up for the challenge, you like KVD products, I don't know. If that's what you want, then the KVD one's right up your alley. It's, using it the second time, it was better than the first time, so at least there's that. the XX Revolution primer performed the same way the second time as it did the first time, and I for sure am like, don't spend your money on that. The KVD one is $22, and for the little amount of product you get, I'm kind of like, don't spend your money on that either. But it's like, I also had to take into account the fact that this is marketed that this will last you a year, and you only need a little bit. So I'm assuming that's where from a company aspect, they figured that's where the money becomes worth it for the money, because you don't need a lot of it at one time. It'll last long, but that's if you're reaching for this every time. Like, if you're buying this and this is your only eyeshadow primer and you do eyeshadow all the time and this is all you use, then yeah, it's gonna be really worth it for you. But if you're someone who only does your eyeshadow on occasion, this is gonna be completely useless. You could buy the P. Louise primer through Morphe, which would be cheaper. And I say through Morphe because then you won't have to pay over the international shipping fee. For me, my favorite eyeshadow primer from using it a lot has been the P. Louise primer, and my second favorite is the ABH primer. The ABH primer is actually really, really good, and I think that's like $17, $20, maybe $15. I believe they have a mini size that might be cheaper, so not positive, but yeah. But I just feel like this just isn't worth it for the people who are only doing their eyeshadow every once in a while. I feel like for the everyday consumer, it's not worth it. That's why I was so disappointed that the XX Revolution primer didn't work, because it's only 10 bucks, and for an everyday consumer standpoint, that would be worth the money if it was good. Unfortunately, it's not good. So in terms of, like I said before, in terms of who flopped the hardest, XX Revolution flopped harder than ever. So yeah, that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, your girl is uploading every Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesday at 7 p EST and Saturday at 3:30 p EST. Make sure to click the description box and you'll see links to all of my social medias. Come follow your girl on Twitter and Instagram, and you can also check me out on Facebook. I have a Facebook page specifically for my YouTube channel. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.